Good evening and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes or be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave can tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the world's forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hands. Together we rise, take a final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. We'll never hide.
Good evening and welcome back to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Michikent on all social media, and I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night, and it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida, right across the bay from St. Pete, Florida, where a pack of Garou have established a sept of the new Garou Nation after having beat back the horrible forces of the ravenous, bloodthirsty kindred that have long since had a stranglehold over the area of Florida for many, many years. But now the Garou have kind of liberated the area for the most part. But new threats have, of course, emerged, as they often do. And the Garou have to, of course, face those threats and have to combat the forces of the worm that are always seemingly emerging from the shadows. But do they have what it takes? Of course, only time will tell. Last week, they learned a great deal of just how far the roots of those threats seem to stretch, as Lucas and Jester found out firsthand that Vanessa, the green siren, who seems to be the face of this particular operation, has no morals and no qualms about reaching very, very far into the pasts and into the histories of these particular individuals, as she got into Lucas's personal life and infected one of his closest connections, a woman by the name of Louise, who worked at the Botanical Gardens, as they found out firsthand when they went to visit Louise, following up on a rumor that these seeds, these infected seeds, seemed to be getting handed out at the Botanical Gardens. Well, those suspicions were confirmed when they found out that Louise had been, in fact, infected by this mysterious illness that had been passed out or had been being spread by these spores. And they found out that a garden had been growing within the Botanical Gardens, seeming to be tended by Louise. Also, Aspen and Jason found out that the scouts that they sent out in the form of carrion spirits to check out Piney Point came back as Banes after they too had been infected when they saw what was a yellow cloud, a mist surrounding Piney Point that seemed to have infected them when they arrived upon the area of Piney Point. And when they returned, they attempted to attack Jason and Aspen, who narrowly escaped after almost being engulfed in balefire by the carrion spirits themselves. Now the pack has to regroup and decide what their next steps will be. But they have some good news and possibly will get some information that will help them in their steps moving forward. Also, they also will get some information about what the other pack, their reinforcements, have been up to as of late. And maybe there's some information or some light that can be shed on their activities that might give them some advantages moving forward, or may just be something to hold them back a little bit in their efforts. That remains to be seen. But of course, if any of this sounds interesting to you, you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media you see down below, or you should join our community by following that Discord link you see in the description down below, because we have 200 plus amazing community members, and you could be one of them by joining at that Discord link. We would love to have you as a member of our community. But of course, I could not tell this story alone. It would take some pretty incredible players to make this incredible story happen. So let's introduce those players now. Players, say hello and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Shit Ass, whatever you'd like to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noree. I'll be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hi, everybody. I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Hey everyone, my name is Preston. I play Jason, Dreams-In-Decay, Thorne, the Urge of the Bone Gnars.
Champ, instead of addressing your introduction, I'm just going to say Skoden, and let's get into this session. So, after everything that has occurred, the pack has decided to meet, of course, as they often do, to check in after all of the events that have unfolded as of late. Luckily, results have come back from Ivy, the nurse that you sent Jace to in order to get some blood work after he had been shown to be infected as well, after having been exposed to some of these spores. And from Spud, the thin blood you had been working with over this past almost year now, who you had sent some fertilizer to for analysis. Well, both of them have gotten back to you and have provided some results from their research. But also, after Lucas and Jester's trip to the Botanical Garden and Aspen and Jace's interaction with the now Banes, it's time for a check-in. So, you all arrive at the cairn, your safe haven, your harbor, and as you enter into the clearing, arriving at the table, you can feel some of the tension release from your shoulders as the past few days and the last interactions have been anything but pleasant. At least there is some safety here. Charles and Eliza are also present, taking their seats at the table. And everyone is assembled once again. The scene is yours.
Hi, everyone. How is everybody doing? Sounds good.
Healed up. So, good.
Good.
All right, considering everything going on.
I'll be fine.
Okay. I would like to say that I won't keep you for very long, but I know we all have a lot to talk about all the time. So I guess let's just get into it. Let's start with any updates that we've had on things that have been going on so far. As far as Jason, any new weird dreams, any strange occurrences?
Nothing right now. Eliza's been keeping me pretty well numbed, I'd say. As far as the spirits, you know the rest of what happened. I don't know if you want me to get into that now or if you want to wait.
If you'd like to get into it now, you can.
Sure. So as you guys know, we Aspen and I went and talked to some different spirits to try and look at Piney Point further. They agreed to do this. We gave them some time. When we agreed to go back and talk with them to try and figure out what they possibly found out, yes, we got some information, and not all of it great. Actually, none of it great. Those spirits got over there, but there's this giant cloud that's sitting over it. And they got corrupted by it. Those spirits are no longer. They have become Banes. So 3 new ones are floating over there now. So Aspen and I barely got it. Thank you for pulling me away, by the way. Shooting balefire at us. So at some point we might need to address that. He'll kind of look towards Charles to take care of that problem.
Do you know if the cloud is on the umbral side only, or if it is visible on this side as well? Because if it was visible on this side, that would definitely draw attention.
It's on the umbral side.
Understood.
It is unfortunate information, but again, it's information that we didn't have before. So it's a good thing to know. Seems like things are ramping up, I guess you could say, and not sure how long we can wait for all of the information to get to us before we start planning on making moves.
As far as moving more spirits out that way, I don't think any other spirits should be sacrificed like that to push further gathering any information from there.
And as had been stated before, nobody should be going over there, especially now with everything we know going on. I just want to reiterate, because it's the more knowledge we get, the more we know that it's far, far too dangerous for all of us to go alone or even in groups. If we're going to go there again, we definitely should be going together.
At this point, Eliza speaks up. Well, based off of the information supplied by your, let's just say, scientific contact, I have analyzed the results that were provided to me, and from what I can tell, there's a reason they picked this location, and there's a reason that it is thriving as much as it is here. These plants, or whatever they are, seem to succeed as well as they do because of the humidity. They thrive in wet environments. They thrive in a swamp-like environment. This explains the tie into Michigan, as well as it is a humid and dense environment for humidity. They don't go to dry territories. They would not survive well in deserts. They need the humidity. This is why drowning them wouldn't work well. Overwatering them wouldn't work well. If anything, it would only make them better. It would only make them stronger. They have a ability to not only take in the water, but to pollute the water or possibly toxify the water around it. So water isn't going to help. Any kind of water solution isn't going to help. But from what I can tell from this does provide some options. If most weed killers or any of your standard toxins wouldn't work, there are other possibilities. If we could come up with some sort of reagent that could dry them out or possibly suck the water out of them, something that could
Dehydrate?
yes, dehydrate them. That might be able to slow them down, if not destroy them entirely.
That could be as easily and as destructive as just rock salt.
Possibly. It's worth trying, certainly. Now, if there's something that we could do, perhaps in the air, something to stop the spores from spreading if they were to eject, perhaps a smoke of some sort, or a mist of our own, that could perhaps nullify the effects of any airborne. But that seems to be the key. They thrive in wet environments, in humid environments. They don't do well in dry environments. That's what I've gotten from this research. That the wizard, as he is annotated on here, has provided. When the seeds were dried out, they almost immediately shriveled up and died. Under intense lights, without any humidity, they dried up and died.
There are other plants out there that can inhibit the growth of the plants around them. So, if anything, that's a place to start. But as far as the effects that it'll have on what's around it, I mean, that's more Jester's territory than mine.
These plants have already shown to inhibit the plants around them, the growth, the life of the other plants. The flowers, the surveillance flowers, they basically suck the life out of the trees that they attach to. The spore pods attach themselves to the roots of surrounding plants and trees. I'm been working on setting up some sort of lab that we could come up with something. It's going to cost a lot, like $50,000 to like get something good up and running. I'm using Greer's. I have about 5,000 I can put in, but that's about it for me. Hoping anybody else might have some they can donate to get something running.
I think I can assist, Charles says. I should be able to get you what you need. While I don't mind occasionally using the leech for information, I prefer not to rely on them entirely. So having our own resources for scientific exploration could be useful. Now, knowing how to use those resources, that's another thing entirely. So we should get studying.
No, a little bit. A little bit.
If you need a lab partner, let me know.
Sure. I think Eliza can help too.
If you need help covering costs of some of the dividends, I'll see what I can throw in.
Me as well.
If you know where it's at, I can just go get it. I mean, that's a thing I can do. So just keep that on the table.
Yeah, that'll. I don't know if we want to go into stealing $50,000 worth of science equipment, but we'll. If that's a last ditch thing, then we can talk about it. But I think if we have the funds, we'll just go that route. Especially with the eyes on us right now. I don't know if that would be a good idea.
I thought it sounded fun. I like the idea, Lucas.
But if you guys want to do it the boring way, that's fine. I'm not going to object. I get it. I get it. You've got the money. Do it.
I think we'll be using your skills for a lot different endeavors.
Much more useful in a different situation, for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of less than legal activities, based on what me and Jester found at the botanical gardens, there is a garden there, one of hers, and my friend has been Stepford, and she's the one that's handing out seeds. I don't want it to come to us having to remove her. If we can get her out and fix her, that would be something that I would really like assistance on.
Okay, and if we can get something figured out in the lab, we get that, maybe we can do some more research and see if we can help the people as far as that goes as well.
Also, I saw the pods that Spud talked about. The flying ones.
For anyone out of the know, there are flowers pods from the trees that have flying plants come out of them, hummingbird size to larger size plant creatures flying out. So keep an eye out for those as well.
I have pictures. I'll slide my phone across to the table. They don't look like they're fully grown yet, at least the ones in the botanical garden, but
So all the more reason for an airborne solution. If we had something that could dissolve or deteriorate any kind of airborne creature, all the better. It's bad enough that we have to worry about these things on the ground.
My concern with the airborne is how do we, I guess, dissipate it throughout the whole city, because we don't know where every single plant is, or
Well, I don't suppose we could. Not right away. It would have to be a case-by-case basis at first. If it came to it, then I suppose we would have to use whatever considerable resources we had to, or use whatever contacts we had to plant devices at key locations throughout the city to have them all release at a certain time to create a significant enough cloud based off of the wind patterns to spread over the area at the right time to create enough of a gust of air to cover at least a significant enough portion of the area. But even that wouldn't necessarily get everything. We just have to try and get as much as we can and then clean up whatever's left.
I agree. To that point, if we were to, and I know this is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, if we were to get rid of the plants in that way on this side, would that clear up the problem cloud in the Umbra, or any potential problems within the Umbra as well?
Well, I suppose. I mean, if we can find a solution that works on this side, it may work the same on that side. From what it appears, the effects that are happening on that side mirror the effects that are happening on this side. The growths that are occurring on that side, from what I've been told, mirror the growths that we have been seeing on this side. So the growths that have been seen on the pattern spiders are the same kind of growths, and she looks towards Charles, that have been seen on this side. At this point, Charles kind of groans a little bit, and then, yes, it seems we have seen progressive stages of how the infection is affecting humans beyond just the early stages. Jester.
at least the dead bodies. Charles can describe the mission we went on, but we went back to the housing development. I found about 6 dead bodies in a building. They were in pieces. When we opened the door, the pieces started to move and combine together to form a giant mushroom monster. It had fungus, the bodies had fungus growing out of them. The pups managed to pin an arm so it wasn't attached to the rest of it and capture that. Once we did enough harm to it, hacking off body pieces and such, every time we hacked off pieces, once they were all together, it did rapidly deteriorate each piece, and then once we did enough harm, it all deteriorated. Smoke bombs have no effect on them except that they're very porous and it will leak out if you happen to shove it down an orifice.
From what we can ascertain, even after the host dies, if enough of the fungus has grown, it can gain sentience and life of its own that persists even after the host body has died.
So do we have a timeline from initial infection until this?
Not an exact one, no. We went there to capture a living specimen for study, but it appears we arrived too late. Now, we couldn't say for sure how long they had been infected at that point. Could be they had been some of the earliest infections and had been infected for weeks, perhaps, already when we first encountered them. But it could have also only been days. It's hard to say. That's what we're trying to learn.
Did anyone have eyes on the other side, seeing if what was going on there?
We did. On the other side, it mirrored much of what we saw on this side. There wasn't much of a difference other than that the pattern spiders were assisting the fungal growths with their reconstruction, with their gathering. It was just expediting their construction.
Okay.
Lucas, with your knowledge of fungus and such, you spoke of ones that could kind of manipulate bugs and those kind of things. Do they take dead animals as well? Do they take like dead bugs usually?
Usually, no. I mean, they infect, the spores infect a live insect, typically an ant or a wasp, and then they just hijack the nervous system to make it do what they want. They need it alive so it has mobility to get from point A to point B. This is a whole new game.
Okay. And on top of the leeches being able to be affected as well, this kind of puts us in a strange situation.
What?
Spud had explained to us that there's a leech that has been exposed and is infected.
Somewhere downtown.
That does change things.
Definitely is a high priority. I think we should take care of that as soon as we possibly can. If we can find anything on it, we should definitely look into it and take care of it. But that's one of the many things we have to look into at the moment.
I talked to Larry a few weeks ago. The places he mentioned weren't, I don't think they were downtown. Like one was in Brandon, and the other was at the casino. Like there's missing people in that area.
Well, this does coincide with something I had been investigating. Missing people as well, but no bodies found at the scene. I had thought that it was leech recruitment, except I couldn't find any blood at the scene, which was unusual for them. If they're infecting others I could follow up on this and take the pups to follow up on this.
I think if you think it's a good idea, then I think that's an excellent idea. You know their progress better than anyone, so.
They handled themselves well against the leeches. While this is different, I think it is something within their skill set.
Okay.
City Hunt is a different game, so
Certainly.
Let me know if you need help.
I will. I'm not sure that they have the mind for the science of this all. But a hunt, I think that they are capable of.
since we're on the topic of pups and also Larry, mine and Aspen's conversation with Bruce was good and productive and insightful in ways that we did not expect it to be insightful. In our conversation with Bruce, he just offhand mentioned that he had seen Ryder in his full war form. And he just really felt like he needed a drink after that. And that was the only problem he had, which was surprising to both of us, considering we know the effect that we have on humans. So I sniffed him out. Turns out he's Ghislaine.
That's beneficial.
Also means we technically did not break the litany, so that we're safe there.
Lucky or having a good lawyer, however you want to run that, either way. But even more surprising, as we were leaving, I caught another scent, and it was a very familiar scent, which led me straight to Larry. And it appears that Larry has yet to undergo his first change. So there are much more complicated things going on at the club than we initially thought.
Eliza speaks up at this point. Well, Ryder was a kinseeker. It would make sense that he would surround himself with kin as well as Ghislaine. He had the foresight to try and rebuild the pack. At least
Makes
that was
sense.
his hope.
Makes more sense now why they didn't seem as infiltrated by leeches.
And why Larry wants to get involved so bad. It's calling to him. We know how that goes.
I think it's rather convenient and also wonderful that you were at the biker club pretty often now, so you can keep an eye on all of that and make sure nothing gets strange. I wouldn't outwardly push the issue, but just keep an eye on it.
If he starts getting there, I'll get him out of there. And we'll have the talk.
Bruce did say we couldn't break his bar, so.
That's exactly what I'm shooting for on that one. I got enough shit to do there. I don't want to be rebuilding stuff too.
It's not fun.
I'm not. Is there a way you can tell when they're getting close to changing?
To be honest, my one and only experience didn't really go great, so I don't really have a point of reference or a context there. So, I mean, is it a better idea that we just kind of let him develop naturally, or do we want to remove him from the situation and try to, it sounds aggressive, but force the issue?
Force the issue. As someone who let it develop naturally, it did not turn out well.
As someone who went through the force the issue part of it, I have my thoughts on that too. And I'm not invalidating what you're saying. I'm just saying a delicate hand is needed.
I don't think we need to force the issue unless it gets closer. If we know how to calculate that, but I don't think forcing the issue is great either. As I said, Lucas is going to be around him quite often, so he can kind of get a good check on him, temperature check, and make sure everything is okay. I also think it's a great idea to talk to Stakes, and Eliza has wonderful insight when she was helping Aiden through Kinseeking.
It's also not a terrible idea to talk to the boy himself. He is one of us, even if he hasn't made his change yet. There is nothing against telling them what they are and what they are in for. As our dear Charles knows, having been born into this life, there's nothing against being prepared for it in advance. Now, there is such a thing as over-preparation, and she looks to Charles with a soft smile, and Charles just kind of grumbles under his breath a little bit. But the boy should be given a choice, an opportunity to make up his own mind on this. He has an opportunity that very few of you had, an opportunity to know in advance what he's in for, and an opportunity to potentially tie up loose ends and say goodbye to a life that he's going to be deprived of eventually.
I think the same thing. I think Aiden did the same thing with Terrence, and from what I've heard, his went much calmer than most of ours.
Something to consider.
I am talking to him multiple times. He wants to do more, and he's pretty aware that something is going on beyond normal human things.
I also think it's a conversation to have with Bruce as well. Not even from a guru side of things, just from a mutual respect kind of things.
I mean, Bruce did express that, I mean, yeah, we gave him the rundown and that was a lot for him, but he wanted to ensure that other key people within the club knew. So bringing Larry into that key people fold too would, I think, do a lot to also alleviate the possibility of Larry running off on his own. And then I could have that conversation with Bruce and then bring Larry in and have that conversation with Larry.
It's not a bad idea at all.
But I do echo what Aspen said. It's a good idea to talk to Stakes. I was raised and trained in Kinseeking a completely different way than she was, most certainly. She may have insights that I do not, as far as being able to tell how soon it is until they're ready, and being able to detect what the best approach is. But, Lucas, she may have certain feelings towards you. I do not know how much she knows. So be prepared for that potential confrontation as well. Now, she
Yeah.
is lupus born, so I wouldn't expect anything overtly aggressive, but it will be blunt.
I can handle blunt. But if she'll meet with me, then sure.
She's a reasonable sort from what I've seen so far. And open-minded as lupus born can be.
Well, I'll put that to the test.
Speaking, well, since we're on the subject of the bikers, just wanted to let you guys know I'm probably going to talk to Bruce sometime soon-ish. I want to tell him what really happened to Ryder now that he knows. I think it's fair to him.
I do too. I think that's, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Closure. They all need it. All of them that knew him. They need the closure.
I think it'll help to know that she's dead too.
Probably.
Not to get off topic, but can we circle back to this arm?
Yes. So, I have found out some very interesting information about that. While it was unfortunate that the group wasn't able to capture a living specimen, they were able to bring me this arm, this hand. And when they brought it, it was brought to the can, which was a good test, to be honest. It brought some useful insight. When it was brought into the can, it fell dormant. It fell into a state of, I suppose, unconsciousness, as unconscious as they could be. It similarly showed the same effects that our dear Jace has when his powers or his connection is nullified. It's inactive when it's in the can, which is good news. It means that the infection seems to be muted, that the protections of this place seem to nullify the effects that this infection has, which is good news. Now, that could be because it is dead tissue, that it doesn't have the same energy to draw from, the same electric pulses to draw from. What's dead returns to death when it comes in here. But I had some time to study it. I had some time to look into it. It's growing. It's regenerating. It is becoming a form. I have had to cauterize or cut off the growth multiple times to keep it from turning into something more. It is trying to become a being, a body. It moves when it leaves the can. I have kept it in a box for the most part, but every day when I go to study it, it has grown almost to the length of about the shoulder, almost to the length of a full arm. I cut it down to about the wrist, but the next day, almost the full arm once again. Which shows a rapid rate of growth. I believe, if left untended, it would only take about 3 or 4 days to grow to the length of a body. Maybe a week at most. Now, what form this would take, it didn't seem to look human for the most part, but I can't guarantee that it wouldn't take those effects if given enough time, that it couldn't disguise itself. It looked fungal. So I'm not sure that they could disguise themselves if they were to grow, but again, I couldn't say for certain. What I can say is that they are, from a spiritual perspective, completely devoid of anything human at that point. They are fully fungal, a mixture of wild and worm. There is no more remnants of the life that was once there. I believe this is the form of whatever the infection takes after it is completely taken over the host. Now, that being said, and she reaches over to some paperwork and she kind of lays it out on the table. I got the blood work back from Miss Summers. It's a fungal infection that spreads through the blood. It seems to target the brain primarily. It also moves towards the heart so that it can spread through the rest of the body. It attaches itself primarily in the brain, where it sends electrical pulses and receives electrical pulses. This is where I believe the voices came from. I believe it receives signals in the air, perhaps unseen spores or almost microscopic signals from other nearby infected. Message transmissions. So, Jace, when you're hearing the voices, it's because you're near other infections or near other plants.
Okay. You said that it takes maybe a few days for a body to regrow.
Well, what's beneficial for you, your guru given gifts are combating it. You are healing faster than it can grow. Your blood is burning away the fungus. Now, humans don't have that ability, which is why they are falling prey to it quicker. But it is still growing, albeit slower, in you. It could, over time, take over you, but it would take a long time to do so. Maybe a matter of weeks, perhaps even months, but it could happen. That being said, I believe, based off of what Miss Summers has said, a mixture of a anticoagulant and an antifungal medication combined with an exorcism of sorts, as this seems to be a mixture of fungus, plant, and bane, could perhaps rid you of this infection. It would be experimental at best. I could not guarantee success. and I can't guarantee it would be pleasant. It could be quite painful, in fact.
Well, I'll continue being your guinea pig. Give it a shot. Why not, right? It's the worst that could happen.
If the hand was dormant here, when we retrieve Lucas's friend, should we bring her here or somewhere else? I don't think taking her to a hospital is the best idea, considering this is Pentex we're dealing with, and if leeches can have control, I'm sure that they could access her in a hospital.
Well, the issue there was, I think the reason the hand went dormant was because it was dead tissue. It didn't have the electronic pulses of living tissue to sustain it. Depending on how far along Miss Louise is, if she is still alive, without the infection, it may be sustained based off of her living self alone.
She had yellow rimmed eyes. She didn't recognize Lucas at all.
Then it could be enough to sustain her. Now, there is a clinic that once was under the control or under the influence of the old can that is still in operation. One that Miss Summers still volunteers at. It is small and based primarily off of donations. Could be a place safe enough to harbor her for the time being. It's not one that goes easily noticed, as it doesn't have most of the materials necessary for heavy emergencies. It's more like an urgent care.
She will put up a fight when we go to get her. That is an absolute given. And if we go to get her, we have to snatch her when she is not inside the garden that she has already cultivated there.
Oh, certainly.
Lucas, do you want to take a day, watch her actions, see if she leaves?
Yeah, I mean, I could do that.
You want me to come with you?
Yeah, if we see an opportunity, I would really like to have you and Charles there, because I'm not entirely sure of my emotional state in grabbing her.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to do it. I'll be there.
Thank you.
I have gotten quite a knack recently for abduction. I believe I can assist.
That may have been the creepiest thing that has ever come out of your mouth in my presence. But what's worse is I don't doubt you. So, thank you. That's weird. Dirty.
He was actually pretty good at it.
So you watched?
Yep.
Thank you, Jace. Thank you.
I think we're getting off topic. Yes, so Jester and Charles, you can go with Lucas if that's what Lucas would like. And kind of keep an eye, see where she goes if she leaves the botanical gardens. where she goes from there and kind of a route so you know where you can pick her up best.
I'd like to try and take two pieces and make a whole on my side of things. I'd like to try and take some of Spud's assistance and some of Miss Summers' assistance and try to put something together. His knowledge of dehydration, her knowledge of antifungal and anticoagulants. Perhaps with this knowledge, I may be able to put something together that could be some sort of remedy for humans. And if that's the case, with your permission, Lucas, I would test it on your friend. It may be the only way we can help her.
Yeah, it's probably the only shot we have, and she deserves a chance. So if that's the chance we can give her, then that's the chance.
I'd also like to help Eliza. I'm not great in either subject, but I'm great at research, so I can help where I can.
Well, then perhaps you can take me and introduce me to your tuber of a friend. And then we can speak with Miss Summers. And then we'll see if they are successful in grabbing her. We'll meet them at the clinic and see if something can be done for Miss Louise.
Absolutely.
You might also talk to Ray. Look to Jace and Lucas. He's the leader of the pups. He brought me some information regarding larva. He seems like, well, he seemed to think that it was connected to these plants some way.
I can take a look, I guess.
I mean, larvae are recyclers. I mean, that's the worm in its purest form, what it should be. So if she's hybridizing Weaver or Wild and Worm to kill Weaver, it would make sense that she would need to cultivate growth and the cycle. So yeah, that's a good lead.
I know things seem bleak, Eliza says. I know they are hitting us where it hurts. But this should be motivation. This is what we need. We have sat by and let this grow. Now it is time to strike back. We have information. We have leads. Now we take action. I believe we can save her, Lucas. I truly do. And I believe, Jace, we have the means to save you as well. Amidst all these fanciful scientific terms, I believe the key is in here. Now it's going to be some trial and error. And yes, you are going to be my sweet little guinea pig. But I promise I will have plenty of little treats for you at the end of all this.
If you can save Lucas's friend, that'll be a big enough treat.
And you.
Sure. And me.
Just stay focused. Stay calm, stay in balance. This is meant to throw us off balance. That's what they want. They want us to get unnerved. They want us to get confused. They want us to get enraged. That's when we're at our weakest. Yes, our anger is our strength. But it is also our biggest weakness. Because when we are enraged, we lose focus, we lose direction. We lose control. And we forget who our friends are and who our foes are. And our vulnerabilities come to the forefront. They don't have that problem. They're looking for our vulnerabilities. They're looking for our weaknesses. This is something that the old nation often loses sight of. Consider it a little stargazer wisdom. Balance is important.
On that, if anybody is feeling some sort of way, especially big mad or big sad, we have each other. Don't forget that. Come talk to someone.
One last thing I want to bring up. The new pack. There is conflict amidst them. They are having a difficult time unifying. I would ask that if any of you meet with them or if they seek any of you out, don't fuel that. We need to bring them together. It's easy to see or to encourage their auspices or to fuel their fires. But they are ill-taught, but they're learning, and they have a long way to go, particularly one of them. A young ragabash by the name of Juniper. She has strayed very far from the path. Lucas, I need your help. If anyone can get her back on the right path, I believe it's you.
I absolutely know about going down the wrong roads and what that does. So, yeah, you want me to talk to him? I can talk to him.
I think we've gotten to that point, yes.
We'll look over at Jester. I'll take him for some batting practice.
She's a Black Fury.
Oh, perfect. It's like a circle. It rhymes. It's wonderful.
They all have trust issues with each other and everyone else, especially her, from what I've seen. So trying to foster trust would be good.
We'll jump to the batting practice later. Okay, yeah.
She doesn't necessarily believe in what we're doing. She believes in revenge. Primarily revenge.
That's rough. And that's a rough one. Okay, yeah. Let me deal with this situation at the club, and then I'll reach out to you and you can arrange a sit down.
I would appreciate it.
You showed that you wanted to have faith in me, Charles, and I appreciate that deeply. So if you need me to step in and be a mentor, which is a phrase I never thought would come out of my mouth, I'll give it the best shot I can.
Unfortunately, everything I have tried has fallen on deaf ears and has only made things worse, I fear. So, I need all the help I can get.
Lucas, you're about to get really good with children really quickly.
Fucking Ragabash, man. God, okay.
I would have asked
So-
Arthur, but unfortunately, you could
Speaking of
double
that-
team. But
When is he coming back? Do we know this? Does he talk to him? I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know if anybody else has talked to him.
Not sure. He'll be back when he's ready to come back. He's doing what he's got to do out there, and when he's ready to come back, he'll be here.
Just saying, we're getting close to this reaching a critical point, and it'd be nice to have another set of claws around.
If it's
Okay.
important, he'll be here.
I
He's
believe
okay.
that.
anyway. Eliza says, well, this was very insightful. I will see what I can put together here. We can do this. I know we can. And with that, the pack has their next steps laid out in front of them. But it's a very rocky road that lies ahead, covered in vines and fungus. With that, we go to our break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of our story. See you shortly.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors: Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Farrah the Bard, Champs Tramps, Pantry Artista, Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You can find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
And we're back. In the first half, the pack got together to try and figure out what their next steps going forward were. And they got a bit of science to kind of help figure out what they needed to try and help Jace get rid of the infection he was dealing with, and hopefully some science to help get rid of the infection that seems to be plaguing Louise, Lucas's touchstone. But now, in the second half, Lucas has a conversation that he is not necessarily looking forward to, with the lupus-born known as Stakes-Her-Claim, mentor of the Hellhounds, a fellow Kinseeker. He wants to talk about Larry, the biker bartender who is a kin in advance of their first change. So Lucas, knowing that you have to meet with Stakes-Her-Claim, you were told that you could often find her out in the bawn around the cairn, as the lupus-born prefers to be left in solitude in her lupus form wandering the woods when she's not tending to her pups. So heading out into the bawn of the cairn, how do you want to seek out Stakes?
I will activate scent and see if I can get a smell for her in the cairn.
All right, go ahead and roll me wits and awareness.
Three successes.
Okay. At first, it's a little bit difficult to pick up the scent, but the further out into the woods you go, eventually you do get a very distinct smell of wolf. And Stakes has a very strong scent, being a bone gnar. It's a mix of the red wolf scent, but it also has a very deep, earthy, kind of dirty smell. She's got a very strong odor, which she does mask when she's trying to hunt, but something about the scent this particular day gives you the impression that she wants to be found. She is not trying to hide on this particular day. So as you follow the scent, you find yourself moving down by the Hillsborough River. And this is where you find the red wolf sitting beside the river, waiting. She sits staring out over the river in her lupus form. And as you approach, her ear twitches slightly at the sound of your approach, and the lupus gaze turns to face you, taking in all of you, and her eyes narrow. And after a moment, she shifts until you see the dirty, maybe 16, 17-year-old girl with short, shorn, dark black hair, dressed in dirty rags, a white t-shirt with brown smears on it, and ripped jeans and combat boots, kind of hunched down. I had a feeling we'd meet one day.
Lucas will walk down to the water and kind of kneel down and like put his hands and splash some onto his face, and then stand back up and look at her. Yeah. When I heard what it was that you did and where you came from, I was curious myself.
I don't put a lot of stake in reputations, but you've got one hell of a reputation, Lucas Shaw.
He'll kind of like look up for a second and then reach down and pull up the side of his shirt to show his abdomen where the Kinseeker tattoo is, with the strip of skin scar that goes right down the center of it. Yeah. I don't know what you've heard, but probably most of it's true.
Where I come from, politics aren't really our strong suit. We didn't care for it very much. But I'll tell you something I do care for. Pups. And how they're taught. How they're brought in. Giving them a chance. So why don't you tell me, from your own lips,
Might surprise you to hear that I share that point of view. That I was given, in the sept that I grew up in, the opportunity to be a Kinseeker, but it's what I wanted to do since I was young. I'm a lot like Charles. I grew up in a sept. They found me when I was little, and they raised me there. Not because I was special or I was some bloodline like Charles, but I don't judge him for that, but just because that's the only place I had left to go.
you should. Should judge him for that.
He has had a good deal, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's fine. He's good. It's a lot, but he's good. But so when I picked up this job, it was something that I wanted to do because I grew up around it all, and I knew, despite the flaws that the Sept of the Jupiter had, that's where I'm from. If you're curious, it was the Sept of the Jupiter.
They were neighbors. We know them.
Yeah, I'd heard of your Sept, but I didn't know anything about it. Wasn't involved in that side of the house, but it's Chicago's a complicated place. Yeah, I mean, it was my family. They raised me, and I wanted other people to experience that and to understand what it meant to believe in something to your core and to want to be part of it and want to fight. And so they sent me out to do my thing. They said, hey, somewhere near college downtown, you're going to find one. So I went sniffing around, and I didn't just find one, I found 3. So I watched. Like we do, right? We watch, we learn. And I followed them for weeks, and I probably could have approached them sooner. I probably could have been better at it, but I got to be outside the cairn. I got to be out on my own, and I didn't really grow up around all that. So the world was new. I think you could probably understand that. Maybe not as fascinating to you as it was to me, but, you know, I was checking things out. And so maybe I missed something. I don't know. But eventually, I followed them. And they stuck together, man. It's almost like they packed up immediately. They all just became friends. And I followed them into the sciences building, into the chemistry wing. And that's down in that basement where I felt it for the first time. The touch of the worm. Not just like you feel in the city, not just like you feel or smell or sense. Like, it was strong. And they had some back storage room hollowed out, and there was shit all over the walls. And I don't know where they learned it. I don't know where it came from. But it was reaching out to them, and they were doing some real debased shit in there. So I did what a good soldier does. I took it back to the cairn. And the leadership the Silver Fangs, and even my own tribe mates, the Shadow Lords, said you don't know what you're talking about. It couldn't possibly be true. Cubs can't find that shit on their own. And I argued with them, and they said, no, just keep watching them. They're probably just interacting with some spirit they don't know about, which probably was more true than they thought. And so I followed orders, and I went back, and I watched them. They kept going back to that place, and I needed to get closer. So I borrowed a camera from one of the glasswalkers, and I was going to get pictures, and I was going to take it, and I was going to show it. I was going to say, hey, look, I'm right. And I got sloppy. And they saw me. I don't know, it triggered something in them, and two of them half changed right then and there and came after me. The third one fully changed. And I mean, they were just college kids. They didn't know what they were doing. And so he points to the side of his face. Big one gave me that. And there was just not much left after it was all over. And a little bit of me and my pride and my anger took over at that point, and this is probably the part where it comes in that you've heard about, is I took their heads as trophies and took them back to the cairn and threw them at the feet of the sept leaders, along with the evidence that I was right. They couldn't kill me for it, but they couldn't let me stay because I proved them wrong, so they struck out my mark and banished me. There's some in-between stuff, but long story short, I ended up down here.
She contemplates your words as she remains crouched and just stares, studying your face. After several moments of silence, do you regret it?
I think that we as Guru have an inability to think about redemption before we think about anything else. And I don't think it's a fault in our code. I think it's just what the nation wants us to do. You know, fight the worm wherever it's at. It's right there in the litany. And I think that's what took over there. I do regret. But I've also come to understand it was either me or them. So it's complicated.
I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about that story. It wasn't that you killed them. It wasn't that you defended yourself. It was the disrespect you showed them after death. Just to prove you were right. for your pride. They were children, pups. They didn't know what they were doing. Ill-educated, corrupted. And even their spirits now can't learn better.
You're right. You are.
I never take joy in killing. But I learned that because I was born lupus. It's not complicated for us. We kill to survive. We hunt to survive. It must be more difficult for those of the Hamid-born, more complicated. But in the end, it doesn't have to be. You don't need to complicate it. I do think of redemption first. Look at my pups. When you meet them, and it sounds like you're going to, you'll see why I say that. From what you've heard, the old nation would have killed them probably twice over already. And by the nation's rules, they would deserve it. But that's why it's broken. That's why we're losing. And I think you know that.
Is that why you're choosing to stay down here?
That's why I choose to run. That's why I chose to run. That's why I chose to go with them.
Lucas will kind of look out at the water and then kind of turn slightly and sit down. What's going on down here is fucking special. It is.
I want to believe that. But I've heard that before.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. I spent a lot of time in between banishment and getting here on the road, and it's bad out there. And when I got here, I thought it was just some spirit saying, hey, these other guru down here need some help. Come help them do a thing. I'm like, well, that's what I do, so I'll go do it. But then I kind of started watching and listening. And when I first got here, I did a lot of watching and listening. And Aspen would have been in her rights to kill me more than once. So I get it. But she has... I wouldn't even say forgiven. She's probably still mad at me about one or two things. But corrected. I think is the right word that I would use, corrected my course. And having experienced that here, I don't know if there's a better place for me or you, and from what I hear, your pups.
So far, I have seen it. After the first meeting and a few times since, they have held up to what they have preached. That's why we haven't left. If it continues to be that way, we will stay. But I will always put my pups' safety first. Because I believe there is good in them. I believe they do have the ability to be redeemed. And I am going to give them the best opportunity to do so. Oh. Even if it isn't here.
You can successfully raise them here. Anywhere else they go, people will be terrified of them. This is not this is not a daycare down here. You know that. It's horrible. So if they can make it, they can make it here, they can make it anywhere. So specifically, Charles mentioned your Ragabash.
Juniper.
What can you tell me about Juniper?
Of all my pups, she has likely had the most difficult road to becoming Guru. She lost everything. And it was the enemy that took it from her. Her anger and her hatred runs deep. She is loyal to me, but possibly only me.
That's going to be my next question. Yeah.
She is the youngest of all of the pups. She hasn't even been a Guru for 6 months at this point. She is on the cusp of having nothing to live for.
I know how that feels. Okay.
But she has family here.
That's good.
And I am trying to help her find it.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get her to focus on that, but she is distracted by all of this Pentex and high-quality builders business, and for good reason. But I hope that upon finding this family, it will give her something to believe in. Because you know this life as well as I do. We lose more than we gain.
Yeah.
So we have to enjoy the things we do gain for as long as we can.
Don't take this the wrong way. She's Rakbash. So she's got to be hiding something.
So am I.
Well, we're more notorious for it than most, believe me. I was when I got here, and I still did for a while, and then did for a while again. Just, is there anything I should be aware of?
She has killed and is not afraid to do it again.
Okay. Now I'll take that in the context of outside the realm of battle in the less than honorable way. Okay. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to force you to say anything that you don't want to say.
I love my pup, and I will do everything I can to protect her, as I will the others. But I know she is at risk, and she has already made some very bad decisions. And if I have to protect her from herself, I will do it.
Last question. Probably not, but I'm going to say that anyway. She good with a knife?
Yes. Though she prefers to take after me and my ways of doing things. She was raised in a survivalist fashion. I believe you call them homesteaders. So she learned from a very young age how to live off the land.
Okay. That gives me something to work with.
She doesn't trust new people. Approach her gently.
No, neither do I. So we'll have a great first meeting, I'm sure. But I won't. Let's just say I can be insufferably annoying.
Believe me, so can she.
This is going to be fantastic. Okay, so I will talk to your pup and do what I can. I need a favor from you two. The motorcycle club that I'm a part of. It's a group of, well, until previously, humans that were associated with the guru in the area, the ones that came before us, and we kind of inherited them, and in a way they definitely inherited us too. They had seen some things, their leadership had seen some things and heard some things, as their previous president was a guru by the name of Ryder. They've been asking questions of me because they know that I hang out with Jester and Aspen and Charles, and we're a really odd group of people that came ringing around often. And they were starting to get a little too close to the truth, so we sniffed around, had some conversation with them, and it turns out their previous president was probably collecting them for a reason, because their current president is Ghislaine. So, interesting discovery there. And one of the prospects, the potential new members like myself, is Kent. I stumbled across this on my own. I know that the nation has forbidden me from doing such things. But Aspen is pushing the issue onto me pretty heavily. And while I did the job before, obviously I didn't do a great job. So I need to figure out the best course now that I've found one. How to keep a good eye on him.
Do you remember the rite?
No. I never got that far.
How do I always end up with the poorly taught ones?
I'm sure it was on the agenda. I just kind of fucked that up.
The nation isn't here. That much is obvious. And while I disapprove of what you did, like I told you, I believe in redemption first. If you want to redeem yourself as a kinseeker, I will teach you how to do it properly. And this is your opportunity to change your first kin, to find your first pup, to bring them in properly, and I will be with you the whole way. Do we have an agreement?
We have an agreement.
Then I will teach you the rite that will allow you to follow them from a distance. Though you have the benefit of being close, it is good to know where they are at all times. This is a particularly unique situation. Do you believe they would benefit from awareness?
suppose some context is really important there. With this club, I'm trying to build something that bridges the gap between them and us, because they're tied to us and we're tied to them, just like I said. But they look at what's happening out in the communities, out in, the places nobody else looks, and they're not happy with it. What the leeches are doing, what the worm is doing. There's a lot of them that want to do something about that. They want to fight. And Larry is his name, is kind of on the front line of that. He wants to do something very, very badly. So I think before he gets himself into something that gets him hurt, an idea of what's coming and where he can get the resources for help would benefit him.
First, that is a terrible name. He needs a new name. That is an old man's name.
Yeah, it is. It is an old man's name. Well, we can cross that bridge later. We'll figure that out later.
I would like to meet him before he is told anything.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great idea. I mean, he works the bar at the club, so
I like
you would
beer.
drink. I was going to say, you're a drinker. You like beer. Excellent. The last Lupus Born I knew wasn't allowed to drink.
That's dumb.
He was not. He was good at it, as good as anybody would be, but he just didn't. He didn't have a level of control on it because he wasn't aware of what it would do. It was a thing. It was a thing.
He probably also liked cheeseburgers. Disgusting.
Yes, I wish I could have listened to the two of you argue about that. But he did like cheeseburgers quite a bit. And tacos.
Disgusting.
I know a great place downtown where they got fresh taco. Everything's organic. It's like all the stuff out there, but put together in a... We'll try it sometime.
Probably not.
We'll see.
We will meet Larry. After that meeting, we will decide our next steps. But before that, you must learn the right. And you must meet the pups. That will be the true test of your self-restraint.
That is a test. For me, and believe me, for them too. Have a way of getting on people's nerves.
I can tell.
It's a gift. It's a curse, but it's also a gift.
I've dealt with worse. You are well on your way. Your reputation is worse than the truth.
For some people, I want that reputation. It's a good tool to have. But for you, the people here, I'd rather you know me for what I really am and what I do.
Then let's begin. As Stakes begins to explain the rite of kinseeking, What's going through your mind after this conversation with the Lupusborn?
Lucas is still very hesitant about this entire thing. He likes doing things his way and having been pushed into this direction, it puts him out of his comfort zone, but also pushes him back towards his old comfort zone. So he's thinking about his old sept, and he's also thinking about Hashgut, who was there with him when this all happened before. And he's a little sad about that.
It's hard to go back to old habits, to an old life. But with a new opportunity, a new chance at that old life, maybe it's an opportunity to do things differently. Maybe it's an opportunity to try again and to come away with something new. But then, maybe there's an opportunity to learn something new, as we see in our next scene, which we will transition to now. Jace, for the past few weeks, you've been trying to learn how to use firearms because you've quickly come to learn that Tampa is anything but safe for a Theurge who isn't very good at combat, and especially after your encounter with those carrion spirits turned Banes, you're going to need to be able to do something. And ranged combat is definitely going to be the way to go for you. Because staying far, far away, especially from anything that could possibly spit balefire, would be to your advantage. So you went to Charles, the Sept Warder, the Worm Foe, and somebody who is shown to be quite skilled with firearms himself to teach you. So we find ourselves at a gun range in a warehouse where Charles has seemingly rented out the entire gun range the last few times you have gone to practice. So this is where our scene takes place. The two of you in the gun range, having just fired off several rounds. Go ahead and roll me a composure and firearms to see how you're doing so far.
I don't know what the scene's gonna have later on, so we're gonna 0.
Okay. So having completely missed the target remaining untouched, as opposed to Charles's target, where it only looks like one bullet has hit, but it's because all of the bullets have hit the same spot. One after another, after another, after another. Your hands are shaking. You need to keep your elbows locked. One hand supporting the other.
Charles, we've been at this for weeks. I don't have a hand in this, man. This makes no sense. Okay, I understand the science behind it, but I don't know. I'll try again.
Nervous. I understand why.
Yeah, it's a gun.
Yes. The only reason you should ever draw a firearm is with the intention to kill. You have to decide that you are willing to kill. Are you willing to kill?
It's not an easy question, Charles.
I know.
It's based off context. I just can't just know if something needs to to die. Like, that's too much control to have on one person.
Jason, everything dies. You know that better than anyone.
I don't make people die, though. I've seen it. I know it happens. But having the life literally in my hand, and the tool and the ability to end it, that
I want
it's
you to
too much.
consider something. He steps around the guardrail and walks down the range. In doing so, he reaches into his suit jacket, pulls out a Sharpie, and draws on the target a face, 2 dots, and a frowny face with 2 little V-shaped fangs coming out of the mouth. This is a leech. They are already dead. What you are killing, what you are destroying, should have died already. In fact, did die already. The form it takes now is unnatural. Shouldn't exist. Now I want you to try again with that knowledge that what you are firing at, what you are shooting, isn't a living thing. You are destroying something unnatural. Pick up the gun, reload it, and fire.
All right. He'll re-rack it, slide it in, pull it back. All right.
Give me
Fire.
composure and firearms, but take an assistance die from Charles.
Two.
As you do, at least 3 of the 6 bullets strike the target. What were you thinking this time?
What would happen if I don't hit this target? What you're going to draw next?
The things we are fighting, the things you are being asked to destroy, it's true they won't always be leeches. But one thing I can say for absolute certain is that they are going to destroy you. Or something you care about. Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's years from now. I will never ask you to take up arms against something that you don't want to. And I will never let anyone ask you to take up arms against something you don't want to. But if the choice comes down to it, or you, or someone you care about, I think you know the right choice.
I hear you. Think about not so much killing, but the protecting aspect of it.
Yes, if that's what helps, yes. That's all I think about. I don't go into conflicts seeking to destroy. I go into conflicts seeking to protect.
Yeah, but you're Naroon. You're Charles Albrecht.
I wasn't always. When I had this speech, I was a 9-year-old boy.
What the fuck, man? You know what I was doing when I was 9? Running around. I was doing shenanigans. But I wasn't being told on fucking killing stuff.
We had very different lives.
Yeah. 9? I didn't even see a gun until I was like 12.
I learned how to clean guns at the age of 6.
Don't mean to pity you, but you're building up to it. Charles, let me ask you something then. What happens if you put in all your effort constantly and you keep missing your target? Or your target shifts, moves, ever evolving. And you fire, you change up your tactics, and you keep constantly missing and people get hurt in the crossfire.
That's why we practice. We practice so we don't miss.
Well, it's one of the first times I've hit in the past few weeks, so by the time I'm 50, I'll be about as good as you are.
It won't take that long. I have found the best practice happens in the field.
I'm a great scout kind of guy, not that kind of dirty field work. Down dirty, sure. Not that kind of stuff, though.
If it's something that you want to do, you will do it. You wanted to be able to commune with spirits. You wanted to be a good theurge, and you are. You wanted to own a bar, and you do. Twice over. When doubt enters into the picture, that's when failure happens.
My doubt is stemming from the thing that is growing inside my body, that is constantly growing. Only reason I'm still kind of around, because the gift that Gaia bestowed upon me. Even with that, Eliza's saying that it's still making its way through. So, apologies for the doubt that I have in my abilities currently. I put you and Lucas in danger that night. There was nothing that I could do to stop myself. It could have gotten a lot worse. They could have gotten me, and then I would have turned on you guys. Not saying Things would have been very different if that happened. Luckily, you guys were there. But they're in my head. They know when I'm around. I came in trying to be an asset and have now become a huge liability. I can barely leave the cairn.
Have you ever met someone with cancer?
A couple times.
They have something that's growing inside them constantly. And sure, some of them give up and let it take them. But most fight. Most continue to live their lives. And some are even lucky enough to win. But one thing's for certain. Nobody around those people blame them for the cancer growing inside them. Just like none of us blame you for what's happening to you. We are here to support you. And you're right, we were there, but that's why we were there. And we will continue to be there because that's what a pack does. And yes, you could have turned and we would have dealt with that too. But you didn't because you're strong.
Haven't said it often, but there's some wise words from a Noree.
I had good teachers.
Yeah, the ones that teach a 9-year-old. Yeah, got how your teachers operate. I'll take your words in consideration, though.
It's natural to doubt. It's difficult to overcome doubt. It takes practice. Just like firing a gun. But when you master it, nothing is impossible, especially for a guru.
Look down at the gun and set it down on the counter. Yeah. In your opinion, say we got a bunch of leeches that we're heading somewhere, out somewhere. I'm assuming you're going to take Lucas and Jester with you into wherever we're going. With my current skill set, where would you want me? If I chose to go and fight.
With your current skill set.
Right.
right next to me.
I was afraid you were going to say that. You see, next to you is where all the shit happens, though.
But it's also where I can keep you the most safe. On your own in the back, you get ambushed.
Hey, you're fast, right? I'll just scream loudly.
Even as fast as I am.
Well, let's start off small. Okay? Before we go in the whole leech raid thing. That sounded a bit much, especially just from the little look around that Lucas and I did. He'll pick up the pistol again and re-rack it. We can... Little things, like how about just turned leech? Like, brand new. He'll try and fire again.
Go ahead, give me a composure and firearms. You can still take the +1 from Charles' assistance.
It's another 2.
Again, striking the target with at least half the bullets.
It's an accident. I was gonna go with the whole point of like me missing and stuff, but that backfired on me. You'll set it back down. Charles, you're a good teacher, you know that?
I'm hearing that.
And I know you got your hands full, so I appreciate you taking some time to help me out.
We all need to be at our best. I have time to give. And if I don't, I make time to give. And Arun's job isn't just to be the first one in, last one out. It is also to make sure everyone is prepared.
I can't think of anyone better for the job here. Yeah, even for a tightwad silver fang.
Hear that a lot too.
Well, you guys kind of bring it on yourselves, so.
That is, I'm learning that more and more.
Well, if you do need help with anything on the spiritual end of things that you're coming across, and Eliza's occupied, I'm at the Cairn a lot.
Actually, I could use your assistance. I have quite a few bone gnars in the new pack, and, well, I think that they might take to hearing some words of wisdom from one of their own. It's hard to, I think, necessarily hear guidance from what one might consider up on the sidewalk from down in the gutter, even though I don't view it that way.
I'll see what I can do, but a good way to get in with the bonars when they start throwing the shit, you just throw it right back. If you just try to talk your way out of it or try and be more physical about it and turn the altercation to something different, doesn't always bode well. It kind of leaves an overall stain. But if you play the game, might make more headway. But I'll see what I can do with the those pups. I heard a little bit about them.
Well, I've had less trouble with Deadbeat ever since I broke his jaw, so I don't know, maybe. But I guess it's a
Deadbeat.
case-by-case basis.
I'm assuming he was mouthing off and you just needed to stop it?
Yes.
That was a dumb move on his part.
It was a first meeting situation. He made quite an impression on Matthias and Aspen.
Oh, that guy. That,
Yes.
good on him. Really just setting the top. I'll see what I can do.
I know this situation is bothering you. Try your best not to let it. Don't doubt your abilities. Don't doubt your strength. And especially, don't doubt those around you. We will figure this out. Eliza, even though she's a stargazer, which I'm still getting used to, one thing I've come to learn in my time here is that she's loyal and she's persistent and she doesn't give up on this pack or this sept. And she'll find a solution even to her own detriment.
That's the part that I'm worried about, is people going out of their way too far. To overreach and overextend can cause overall rips and tears, and that's where things leak through.
Well, that's what elders do.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? My old sept, the elders would constantly be trying to step into pack business when they had other things to tend to, but it's their job.
The elders are always going to look out for their pups even when they shouldn't be viewed as pups anymore.
Yeah.
But that's how pups become elders, how they live to become elders. And you're not going to convince them otherwise.
Especially Eliza. Especially her. She cares way too much. Love her to death. Absolutely biggest sweetheart. Cares too much.
I know you also miss your home.
That's all I know.
Believe me, I relate. If you ever want to talk about it with someone who understands. I know I don't seem like the most emotional or empathetic person, but I also walked away from a lot to be here.
Possibly a conversation for another time, but you are right, though. I do think about home a lot, but I was sent here for a reason. Gonna see it through, best of my abilities anyways. Till Gaia sends another.
Yes. Well, I think that's enough practice for today. But we have to keep at it.
I look forward to it every week. It's one of my highlights.
Perhaps we'll get to twice a week, if nothing else, to get you out of the cairn a little bit more.
I can, I think more practice is a good idea. Absolutely. I think I can get behind that.
I had a feeling you'd say so. Now, why don't we stop by your bar for a drink?
Yeah, absolutely. He puts the gun away real quick and actually almost sprints out the door.
You hit the target. You earned it. As the two of you head out to Charles's car to head to the bar, we transition to our final scene of the evening. Back at the cairn, Aspen, as you're heading into the cairn, looking for Jester, you come upon her by a tree. The tree. A tree you have been avoiding because it's positioned above a den that had been dug beneath the tree, a den where you last saw the spirit of Aiden Goodspeed and Alara go. A tree that's been dubbed Aiden's tree. Now, whether that's true or not, whether that's the way it works, even though there's been some conflicting reports as to whether or not you get a specific tree when you pass on, or whether it's just kind of a rumor. But on this particular instance, Jester is positioned by this tree. Jester, what are you doing?
Sitting, just maybe like a few inches away, not touching the tree, but just sitting and staring at her hands while she's kind of talking. It's been a while. Hope you're doing okay. Saw parts of, guess, your transition. It seems kind of weird. There's a lot going on here. Seems we can't really take a break ever. But, you know, feels like that's pretty much Garu life. We miss you. Stupid. I know. I know you always would have made this choice. But. And I keep going over different things of what if we changed this? What if this had happened? But it doesn't matter, does it? Because what ifs don't matter. This is what happened. I hate that Arun are the first to die. I hate that any of us die so much. I want to change it, but I don't know how. We have new pups. Well, technically we didn't find them. They were a pack that came down, but they're pretty much just kids. They don't know anything, and this place could get them killed so easily. They would have driven you crazy. I'm going to hesitate and then reach out and place a hand on the tree.
As you touch the tree, at first, you feel nothing. Just the bark of the tree. But as you keep touching it, the bark feels like it smooths until it feels like you're touching skin. And as you look down at your hand, you see that you're holding another hand. And following the hand up, you see Aiden sitting across from you. He doesn't say anything. He just watches and listens. Doesn't seem like he's fully present. Kind of half there, half not. But he's looking at you. He's connected with you. And his expression is serene, relaxed, detached. He then kind of looks past you over your shoulder. As you follow his gaze, that's when you see Aspen watching. Before you can, when you go to turn to look back, it's just the tree again.
I'll drop my hand and stand up, dusting off. Hey.
Hey. You can keep sitting. And she'll walk over and she'll sit next to where she was sitting.
Okay, I'll sit down. What's up?
I just wanted to come by and chat and see how you were doing.
I'm okay.
Get any good stories?
Not yet.
How are you feeling about everything going on?
Exhausted? I mean, it's a lot.
What
But
else is new, right?
yeah. At least I'm doing things, so it helps a lot.
Good. I'm glad that's helping, and hopefully we get all this figured out with, your smart idea for a whole lab and, I don't know, smoke bombs. I don't pretend to know exactly what's going on all the time.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. It's not a bad idea. I was thinking maybe something using alcohol that tends to dehydrate plants and things, so I'm sure Lucas, Celeza, and I can put our heads together and figure something out.
Yeah. And I'll help in whatever way I can.
I know. You always do.
But we'll get through it. We always do.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Better? Good days, bad days?
That's what usually happens.
Yeah. Well, at least I can, say his name without feeling like I'm gonna die, so.
To start.
Still not touching that tree. I don't know how you do it.
This is the first time. I haven't been able to for a while.
See anything good?
I saw him. He's still processing, cooking, changing, so I don't think he's really all there to have a actual conversation with, but I think he still can hear sometimes.
Hmm. I'll try not to be awkward while I stay here. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, you did say thank you the other day, so
Yeah, but I think you deserve a lot of thank yous, and you've been dealing with the brunt. I mean, kind of from all of us, right?
I mean, I don't think it's a brunt per se. Everybody's hurting. I kind of have firsthand experience on knowing how that is.
Yeah, but you still deserve 1,000 thank yous for everything.
Just glad you're getting better.
I know. I'm sure Lucas appreciates it too.
I know. I know.
And, Jason, taking care of Jason has been kind of your and Eliza's thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to make sure he gets better.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of a shit way to start out over here, for sure.
Yeah. And he got sick trying to shield me.
Hey, maybe in a roundabout way, it's like some sort of messed up initiation.
Maybe. I don't know.
Welcome to the Tampa trauma train.
Never ends.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, ugh, I'm just gonna say a bunch of words, and I'm just gonna say them, and you just sit there, and we'll just pretend like the words weren't said. Okay? Good?
Okay.
Okay. Man, rough out here. Feels like every time you make a decision out here, we make the wrong one.
I don't think no decisions we have are easy.
Yeah, but, I made a lot of bad decisions for you.
What do you mean?
Well, you shouldn't have had to deal with Ryder.
From the people I've talked to, are you talking about his ghost or
Well, his
everything?
ghost, everything with all of that, with your friends. It's all a lot. I don't know. I don't mean like, oh man, leadership is hard. Ugh, pity me. I just mean, a lot of, you've taken the brunt of that a lot.
We did everything we could to stop Ryder from doing what he did.
No, I know. Um,
And yeah,
well,
maybe in the beginning, for my friends, like, I get legal things take a while, but that was also on me choosing to wait instead of trying to find ways to do stuff.
no, I know. And I know you have a million ways to justify it and make everything feel better, but I'm sorry anyways.
Apology accepted then.
I'm gonna try and do better.
That's almost, I think that's really all we can ask of each other. Learn from what we messed up on. Do better.
Yeah, I think so. I found something the other day.
Oh, what'd you find?
She'll open her purse and pull out a little notebook. And she'll hold it up. You want to read it? And she'll kind of slide it out. She has a piece of, it looks like a picture sticking slightly out of the notebook. And she flips to that page.
Sure. So, hold out my hand to take the book.
She'll flip it to the page, and it's the little excerpt of Aiden talking about meeting Artie for the first time and fighting over a cheeseburger.
The two of them didn't let that go ever.
Ridiculous.
It was. I've been really worried about you. For a while. Glanced by the other tree. I wish it'd been me, because you wouldn't be so messed up.
I think I'd still be messed up.
Maybe not as much.
I would trade you for him.
Thanks.
And thank you for being that person for me. Now that he's gone.
I'll lay my head on her shoulder. You're welcome.
She'll flip the page again to the little excerpt of Aspen and Aiden first meeting and me trying to pepper spray him because he broke into my house.
You keep a journal of your first meeting with everybody?
He did, I guess.
Wow.
He has a lot of weird little excerpts. You can have it if you want.
I'd like to read it, but I think it belongs to the sept. Something everybody maybe should read if they want to.
I agree. But I think you should keep it.
Okay.
You're the one who tells stories, so.
Yeah. I've been having a hard time writing his story, at least his last story.
And I have a lot of the good parts of everything before that.
Think I'll add those in.
And maybe, if you'd like, you can pick some of your favorites. And we can do a remembrance for him if you'd like.
I'd like that a lot.
Yeah, I know you talked about it a while ago. And I think it's about time.
I'll talk to Eliza and we'll start making plans.
Yeah, and I'll help.
Of course.
And I'm sure Lucas is going to want to help, and Jason will be really confused, but we'll catch him up.
Charles will want to help too.
Absolutely. I think it's about time.
I think so.
You're a wonderful friend, Jester.
A hugger. You're a wonderful pack leader, Aspen, and a great friend. All your doubts about messing up. People make mistakes. It's what we do after that matters.
All your doubts of being left behind and feeling like you don't matter. You matter to all of us, and especially me. You matter to me a lot.
Thanks.
Sometimes healing feels like it hurts more than the wounds themselves when they were inflicted. The scabs, the scars. But nothing feels better than when the aches and pains finally go away. And nothing helps healing more than a friend, than family. It's hard enough healing alone. It's easier healing together. And while the last goodbye might be the hardest, at least you can all say it together. This is where our story comes to an end this evening, but not without one last scene. We find ourselves in the back of an SUV, the windows all completely tinted and blacked out. A cell phone rings. A man in a suit with slicked back hair answers it as Edward Bateman pulls the phone from his suit breast pocket. Vanessa. Mr. Bateman, as I've done so many favors for you, it's time to repay the favor. You have some friends that have certain abilities. I think you know the abilities that I speak of. It's been a little too dry for my liking. I need you to make it rain. And the phone goes dead. He looks at the phone, opens up his contacts, and flicks through until it lands on the name Adamar, and dials. Hello, Regent. How would you like a favor from the Prince of Tampa? We then see the outside of the SUV pulling into an apartment complex lined with nicely trimmed bushes, lined with silver branches. And this is where our session comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. If you enjoy what you've seen here tonight, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below, and come join our community by following that Discord link in the description. You could be one of the over 200 plus members that make our community the amazing place that it is. We would love to have you be one of them. And we've got Hellhounds this coming Friday on YouTube at 7 p.m. So come see the next episode of what that other pack is up to. And then we'll be back with another episode of Rage Across Tampa next Tuesday on Twitch at 10 p.m. So come on back. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening, everyone. We'll see you soon.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Rage Across Tampa is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Preston, Champ, Noree, and Walks. Visit our website at stpetbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.